Is there anyone here who does not know what plant spirit medicine is? 1, 2. This is the first. We're getting down to, this is the first. For years I have been doing this. This is my 45th year of working in the world in this way with plants and stone. I always ask this because I had to know, where do I start? And when there's just a small little group, and it's always been like, I'm seeing it go down, go down, go down, until yesterday was the first time ever that everybody knew. Plant spirit medicine is what the world runs on. It's spirit medicine. It's not necessarily just plant and stone, it's everything. It's kind of like how we say herb here and the rest of this world says herb. The rest of the world runs on that energy, and we are the only ones who do not. It's not, so it's more than anything, it is an awakening. So it just reminded me I haven't sprayed you yet. So we're going to do a little more chaos. I'm going to, and this is, I'm going to have people who want to volunteer to do this, just to walk down, spray it over everybody's heads. This is what I'm doing with this. I'm going to clear you all from any anxiety home things you brought in or whatever has been going on. It's just clearing the air and the energy and raising that vibration high. And it was a mix of plants and stone that I was given by the plants because my partners, Kate and Mary, worked at Providence for 38 years each. And they would come home every night and I would have to peel the attachments off of them that everybody attached because of fear and anxiety and anger and all of those things that are fear-based. And it was getting very tough for me to do. So they said, well, you don't have to do it all. You see, we have this thing that we have to do it all. And it's a lesson that we're really learning in huge ways this year. So they gave me what plants and stones to put in it. It's known as Blue Dragon, and it clears energies. I make it by the gallons for my friends for her rescue. She does horse and mule rescue, and they all have been mistreated terribly, and it moves and clears all that energy away from them. You use it in your water for your animals when they've got anxiety attacks, which is happening a lot with the animals right now, and it's happening a lot with us. It's the chatter of all of the plants and the stones that are behind me, all yelling to talk at once. Oh, I can help with that, I can help with that, I can help with that. So it gets a little confusing, but we're going to spray you with that. Some of it's blue sage, some of it is Song of the Grandmothers. We're just going to, if you want to know afterwards, it's not, there's no scent in anything except the sage. We're just going to raise the vibrations in here with the songs that the Shipibo grandmothers gave to me and all of that. We're going to clear it, we're going to do it, and then get to the good stuff. Although you guys are good stuff too. Okay, so who wants to spray for me here? Okay, we'll do it. Who wants to take what? Here. I need two for these sides here. Here. And just lightly with this, because this is the blue root, and it's intense in scent, but I love it. So just walk down. You start at the back, and you go down the front, and just kind of give a spray down towards there, and it'll spread through the room. We don't need to get everything. Okay, I need anybody else who want to spray for me? These are songs of the grandmothers. I go every third year to the Amazon to work with my teachers in plant spirit medicine, which are the Shipibo tribe. And these are their medicine songs. So we also, one more person want to go here? There's more oxygen in the air with this. It shifts and changes, brings in oxygen and things can move through our body without being so thick and stuck in what's going on. This is Songs of Grandmother. All of that brings in oxygen. So all of the sprays that I have out there, you can buy. You can buy them ready-made. They're like in a spray bottle, or you can buy the elixirs. And there's a special we're running on the creams and elixirs of buy two get one free, and they're master bottles, so you can break them down, and you can put a few drops in a sprayer bottle and with a little splash of brandy to hold it, so it doesn't go off and make your own, you know. And that's kind of the bargain way to do it. Yeah.
What booth are you in?
The very front door when you go in right there, it's a big double booth, it's all open.
It's just the best booth in there.
Oh my God, so this is so much better. Phew. It's where to even start. First of all, this summer, my friend DJ had a stroke, but she hadn't had the stroke yet when this happened. Her partner got into an accident and was really hurt. So I thought I was going down there to their new house at the coast to take care of them. And what happened, these are things that happen when we expect, and it blows it out of the water. I've been struck by lightning twice. I'm very sensitive to electrical energies. So when I went there, the energy across the street was huge, and I walked across and asked permission to walk in there. It was just a grove of trees. And there was a lightning, and they just went, whoa, because no one had asked their permission in a long, long, long time. No one, most people don't even think of that. So when I walked, so they all zapped alive, and I walked across, and there is a lightning-struck tree, cedar tree, that was the mother of that whole grove. And when I went back into their house, I realized the roots of that cedar are running all underneath their house, and it whacked on. For 3 days and 3 nights, the floor was shaking. You could not hardly stand up in that house, and I was channeling information for 3 days and 3 nights until I was absolutely insane. There was no sleep, there was no eating, there was no nothing. It was like information, 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 because no one had spoke to them and spoke their language. And I finally had to, how do I stop this? How do I stop this? I figured out a way to draw a sword. I drew my ancestral sword that is part of the shield, my Scottish shield. And I cut the roots under my feet. And it stopped it. But here's the thing with all of this. When it rises up so big, the information roars in. I whacked out the tape. I couldn't tape it because the electrical whacked the tape. I couldn't write it down because I couldn't, it's a different spot. I was coming from here, not in head. And DJ and Bobby said, and they were a whole part of all this thing, they said, oh, we'll remember that, we'll remember that. So none of us, when it closed out and that energy withdrew, my prayer is that we all downloaded it here, and I know that that is the case, because I can't share it with you. I was like, oh my God, did you hear that? Did you hear that? And it's gone. But, so I said, okay, we have to do a class here and take care of this, because we just do. We have to do an honoring there. So I held a workshop, and the group who got together was the perfect people in the perfect place. And what happened is I did a flower bath ceremony from the Shipibo to clear us all of everything first. And then we did a despacho ceremony, which is my favorite thing to do. So if time allows, or whatever, if you have land, if you have anything that needs deep root clearing, this is the ceremony. It's building a dispatch to spirit. It's not that you're dispatching things, you're making a dispatch. You're building a beautiful present out of plant and seed and honey and all of the different things. And then you're wrapping it up and you're sending it off either by ground or by water or one of the ways of earth, air, fire, water. And the dispatch, when it's accepted, comes right back to you. And it is an amazing, amazing space to be in. So, out there, I also have, I did the class yesterday, but I'm afraid we aren't going to have all the time to do all the stuff I want to do. There's a cordial out there called Golden Courage that we made at this because we charged, I asked what plants needed to be done for this for the time that was coming, and it was borage, and it was golden healer, this amazing big stone of golden healer from Madagascar that is the healer for the healers. It activates your solar plexus and brings your chi right back up to it so that you are filled and full with that. So, borage, I didn't get to show anybody her yesterday, but, so I have some up here, we can take it out or whatever to the booth. Who does not know borage? Lots, okay. So borage is a plant, it's called, some of the old names for it is called cool tankard. And and it is, and I'm going to pass this around so that people can, check it out and see it. It has, is it the flowers are blue and turn purple, or purple and turn blue?
Purple and blue at the same
At the same kind of time, yeah. So I had, for DJ's housewarming present, we bought big garden frames for her front garden, and brought in all of the mule and horse manure and stuff from my friends that we've got mountains composting, and filled everything up. So I brought her herb plants to put in, and we got a borage plant. And borage gets good size, I mean like this, and it trails off. Hers was like this, it filled a bit. It's the biggest borage plant I've ever seen in my life, and she's already got like 50 plants coming up from all of it. So that says to me, when something grows that strongly in your yards and around you, you need to be looking what you've got growing the most around you, because that's what you need. Every time. Everything you need is right there from the earth. So it is a cooling plant. All of the plants that wanted to be talked about yesterday were all things for hot. And we have been dealing with very hot energies, fire energies, huge. So borage also is for courage and strength. It's one of the herbs that were used as that were consumed and taken into battle by the Romans. It's a shield and a protection in a very different way than a lot of the things shield and protect. And I have a feeling that it's kind of like ajurin, in that what it does is shield and protect by activating your solar plexus and bringing the armor, your own armor, back up to that. I didn't bring my notes. So anyway, it is a great healer for wounds and things that have not healed in a long time. I'm missing something that I can't grab. Robin, anything?
Isn't it good for nursing mothers?
It is. It increases. Okay, that's it. Thank you. Thank you. That triggered me. It is also known as bee bread. It is tied with the bees like this. And it increases the use. It's used in increase. It's an increase in all the good things. Because when the hot comes down, the cool comes down, there's a water element that flows. It brings in prosperity. It helps the hives produce more honey. It helps you produce more of yourself that needs to be brought up, that's been held down by things.
My old neighbor used to plant it and make it into tea all the time, and he said it was absolutely unbelievable.
It is. It's unbelievable. It's really good. It has a cucumbery melon kind of taste to it, and it can be eaten in salads. But this main thing that it was wanting to say was increase, and that's cooling. And what I was taking what it was saying from was that it's cooling the increase, because we have in the last 6 months got hit with a whack of incoming energy that's coming in, and our bodies are having trouble adjusting to that, to where we're clumsy, we're a little off, we're not anywhere that that is happening. So it's going to help with that cooling and adjusting to that, and we kind of resist with that kind of heat too, and it also helps flow and move resistance to what's going on, because I'm being told that whatever is coming and is here, and it's coming here, is that we have to remove resistance. Have to remove resistance. Anywhere there's resistance in the body, this is what the amazing thing that just happened to me. I just got back from and we're going to talk about that a lot, from 6 weeks in Europe that I was being led on the trail of the ancient trees. While I was there, my spiritual father, who was my mentor, who I absolutely just adored long before I met him, is Richard Raymond, who did the Whole Earth catalogs. And those of you who are those of us who are getting older know these. But to you, those of you who don't, the feat that it was, because it was before computer. Before computer, this man and his partner amassed all of the things, every story, every tool, everywhere to get back to the land, and how to do it. And they influenced millions of people to move out of the cities onto the farms, to grow their own things. They influenced my whole generation so huge. And before computer, their book was this big, and it was like this. I mean, they're monsters. So my friend, 2 days before that, before I knew anything had happened, I had a meltdown. I was in England, and I had a meltdown that I didn't know what it was about, and I was really just asking Kate and Mary to please tell me they'd miss me if I left. You know, I was wanting somebody to tell me to stay, because I knew there was an ending, there was a something, and I was having a breakdown over it, and I didn't know what it was. So then our emails had not been working in Ireland at all. But so we got into a place where they would work, and I checked, and Carol had called and told me that Dick had had a massive heart attack. So she emailed me again and told me the time is near, and we're all in bed with him, and we're singing Big Rock Candy Mountain. So I hooked in with him, the whole bed with Reiki. This is another where I thought I was just doing Reiki and sending them energy. I hooked in with them, and he left, and I went with him. I have never had an experience like this. It was golden light, golden air. It was like gold dust, little tiny, tiny flecks, and you breathed them in, and I had no pain. I didn't even realize how much pain I've had my entire life that I live with and deal with, because the first time there was no pain, and it's like, yippee, I'm out of here. That's it, I'm gone. You know, I'm not coming back. And Dick would never tell me no, I couldn't go with him. I said, I'm going with you. You know, that's it. But he would never tell me that, because that's the kind of guy he was. He was so, but he meditated 4 hours of his life every morning, every day, with prayers for the world. Every day of his life. He was 91. So he turned me around and had me look at the beauty of the earth. And I said, yeah, but I got no pain. He turned me around again and said, and had me look at the beauty of the earth. And it was like that. And one more time it took 3 times, and I saw it. And I said, well, crap. And it was the most amazing, amazing experience. And this is the hardest thing I've ever done, is getting back in the body. This was a near-death experience I had. I would have just, the cord was going to snap, I was gone. And getting back in was insanity, the pain of it. Coming back, that spiritual energy coming down into every place. There's somewhere that's resistance, you know? And so I got back in, and I'm shoving food from the refrigerator with, you know, trying to get back in the body. And I'm still not entirely there. I'm gonna have to, I have a body worker I'm gonna go to after this show. Because it looks to me still, I think I've not made it, I know I've not made it back and I'm off balance. Because the floor is like miles and miles and miles away.
I sense that about you this year, that you are gone. That there was a part of you that just had multidimensionally left.
Yeah, well.
So bless you for coming back. Thank you so much.
So I came back in saying, how can I ever fear anything again? How can we ever fear anything again? Because none of this means anything. That's what's waiting for us. And I'm here to testify. It's pretty damn amazing. It's like nothing I've ever experienced. The closest experience I did to that is in the late 70s, early 80s maybe. I had done a lot of work with the midwife community. And they called me because they had a woman, a Native American woman who was having trouble. She had had 3 miscarriages, and this child that was with her, they had no connection between them, and she was afraid that the baby was going to leave. So I went in to help and said very stupidly to the child, go back to, you have to know happy. You don't know what happy is. You have to feel that. When's the last time you were happy? Shh! It went right through, and I almost snapped my cord. I had to let go like crazy because it was dragging me right back with it. So it was like, oh, you got to be real careful how you phrase things. Real careful. And that's what that felt like. That was like, so I've been very cautious since in doing the work of how you phrase your questions. Because there's always that other side to the question. No matter what, no matter how wonderful it is something, it has to have that balance on the other side. We don't get just wonderful. It's like having one side of a seed. So this year has been the most profound. The workshop, after we did it with this group, we raised so much energy, and I was so high. And I haven't had a chance to talk to you a lot of you guys about it too that were there. But it was such a higher raise in consciousness that I was having a hell of a time with it, because what happened in the past, I would say I needed help from this plant, all of the plants, and if I had let it happen and opened just enough, every plant in the world that did the same thing, the roar of it. So I said, my God, I've got to ground this out somehow. I can't live like this. This is insanity. This is where lunacy lies. So I went down under my tree, and for those of you who have not heard about the tree, we'll talk about that in a minute, but I went down under it and lied down and expected it to do the same thing it's always done for me, which is just ground me out back into the earth. And it grabbed a hold of me. I call this the roots at the edge of the world. It grabbed a hold of me, wrapped its roots around me, and shot me off. You know, and then other roots wrapped around me, and I was moved root to root to root until I was at the edge of the world. And it was, I almost could hear her voice. I almost could hear her voice, and this is it. I got too afraid. It terrified me because I knew if they weren't holding me, I was going to get sucked off the planet. You know, I mean, that was that. And if I'd been able to go just a little bit further, I would have joined with the heartbeat of the earth. And it was a tremendous gift that they gave me. It was staggering, and I'm so kicking myself, but I'm going to stop that. I got what I needed to after it. But at that moment, I thought, oh my God, here's a gift that's been offered that I didn't take. Yeah. Whew. So, I think that's what's going on. Well, that is what's going on. It's how much of it we hear is what it's increasing, and you're hearing what you need to hear from it, and you're here. You're here. So we're going to raise some stuff up today to do with this. I'm just trying to figure out for you what order to put it in, because boy, there's yowling going on. And we could go 100 different ways. I'm going to start where this started for me. Well, I mean, obviously, there's some of you who don't know the story of the tree in my yard, do you? Okay, so I have to go back, tell them a little bit to tell you where we've gotten to with this. 3 years ago, I think it was, 2 or 3 years ago, I lose track of time, but I started hearing a voice of a tree that was coming and telling me, and it was like 2 or 3 months, this tree, and trees were not normally my thing at all. It's been the plants. But this tree came and started giving me all of this information during dream, during awake. I kept checking out and going in with this tree and talking. And in that time period, we were getting ready to go to Tucson, and I had been down with, I'd hurt my leg very badly, so I was on crutches. I'd been in a wheelchair for a month. And this tree came in and was telling me these things. And when we went to Tucson, Kate and Mary would be with me 1 second, and then they were gone, and I think, where in the hell did they go? But it was me who went. And they couldn't, I was stepping sideways into time, and that's what I'm understanding and realizing is happening with this. I was stepping sideways to communicate with this tree spirit. And they led me to these stones, that the stones call themselves root and branch. The trees call themselves root and branch, root being the elder, branch being the younger. And there's a handful of them left out there, just a handful. And some were in root pieces, some were in bark pieces, petrified from Egypt, from the White Sands. And when I got these started, anywhere I would put it or hold it or deal with the trees, it wakes up and activates the spirit that is so deep in there and brings it right up and joins the conversation. So I took them back home, and on my land there was a spot that a few years before that I tried to close the circle at winter solstice when I was doing a healing ritual for the land, and it would not close. There was an opening there that would not close. So I said, okay, we've had a gateway open up here, or a vortex or something is going on. And we dealt with that for a couple of years. It was just, the energy would just, oh, I thought you just tapped me on the arm. Just going out. Yeah. So, yeah. Sorry, that broke my concentration there. So when we got home from there in May, we had a friend staying with us, Sylvia, who is a medicine woman from the Amara tribe up on Lake Titicaca. And we were bringing people in for her to have, she's a coca leaf reader. And just an amazing woman who's very potent. So the cats one of my cats got out by one of the people that she was seeing there. They never go outside because I have cougar, I have bear, they've never been outside. So I had to call in all my friends who are animal communicators to get Nai back in because she is so stubborn. So we were all searching for her everywhere, and Mary and Kate have had this land for 25 years. I've been with them for 15. They know every tree on that 40 acres. They walk it almost every day. They know every single bit that is there. They know the oldest trees that are there. Mary came roaring up. Her face was just white as a sheet, and she said, "You aren't going to believe this." And she had me walk down there with her and look. 100 feet from my cabin, we now have a tree that was, I don't want to say was not there. It's not that it was not there. There was a veil there. Now there is no veil. She said, "We're not telling anybody until we find out what's going on here." So Sylvia, we took her out to dinner, and she said, "Something's changed." And I said, "What?" And she said, "How old are your trees?" And she said that someone had taken her to the redwoods when she came last time. And she said, "It's like that, only it's older." And she said, "And there's this ancient smell in the air." I said, "Okay, Sylvia." So we took her down there the next morning and did a coca leaf ceremony. And there's many of you who have seen her and been with her. And this was a start. I didn't know what it was about. I don't accept that the veils are dropping. And I believed at that time that was going to be happening more and more. Now I have heard of 2 more that have happened and appeared on the islands, out in the islands of San Juan, where, anyway, the name went dead. I couldn't think of her name. Judy. What island? Lopez Islands. Yeah, there's been one that has appeared in the nun sanctuary, and there is another one there that has appeared. So it's just like veils are just dropping, and the trees are there. Because I couldn't connect the same voice I was dealing with the energy of the tree. I didn't understand what was going on. Well, here's the rest of the story. On my journey this year, I was led from tree to tree to tree across Europe of the most ancient yew trees. The one that I have out there in the leaves, and we're going to, when we get to the energy part, we're going to bring this up in here so you can feel this. I smuggled in plant material from all over Europe. And I lied about it very well. So we have medicine work that is coming. And here's my favorite part. Mary's two sisters and brother-in-law were there. And Mary's brother-in-law can be a pain in the rump sometimes. But he really is my new best friend, because this is what he did. He went over to Scotland for 4 days, and they asked me, is there anything we can bring you from Scotland, because I wasn't going to be able to make it there. And I said, if you see any hawthorn, bring me a piece of hawthorn. So one of the princes was in at the palace in Edinburgh, and so there were guards out with machine guns, you know. Diane was the lookout, and he hopped the fence into the Queen's garden and brought me a piece of her hawthorn. So, do we have heart medicine coming? Yeah. And Diane also, there was the fence, all fenced off around Stonehenge, and Diane reached in, that plant, there's a little plant growing there that's yelling at Roberta, you know? So she reaches, she gets down, kind of looks around, gets down, grabs the plant, and brings me this amazing piece of...
Plantain.
Of what?
Plantain.
Plantain, thank you. Of plantain. She's got a name that she likes better than plantain. It's an older one. Because every time I start to say plantain, that's not what she's connecting with. But I have a piece of plantain that will make medicine out of that comes from the middle of Stonehenge. It was one hell of a great journey. Yeah, I thought I was going to get an adventure at the flea markets everywhere was what I was going for, the Paris and flea market, but I got an hour and a half. So, but the plant material was it. It's really, really amazing. So this tree I was led to there is called the Ystragale. It's in Wales, and I think I've heard it pronounced Ystragale and Ystragali. It sounds like limbo. Ystragale, lay, Ystragale. Anyway, so we drove out there. I was just called. The article had just come, and it just had gotten, there's a plant party going on in there. There's an article, a woman who had just, that is there, that leading European tree person, I can't remember the scientific name for that, but she does all the dating and does all of the, certifying of what is. So it's certified as the second oldest tree on our planet. Have I just said this to you guys? Okay, am I remembering? I said it yesterday. Okay. So it's the second oldest tree on our planet. It is 60 feet around. It is a yew tree. There are pictures of it all over my booth, and I have made medicine out of it. I have them. We're going to try to bring these leaves up so you can feel them. They are insane crazy. This is 300 years before the birth of Christ. 3,000 years before the birth of Christ. It is before Stonehenge. It is before the pyramids. It is before everything. And this is what I'm getting working with this. My brain has been wanting to explode with this because it is breaking old belief systems everywhere, right and left for me, and that's not necessarily comfortable. And I only have part of the story for you, but I believe what I'm hearing is that the original tree of life was taken after and out of staffs and brought by out of Egypt, brought everywhere into Wales, into Cornwall, into Scotland, planted in the ground and became these ancient trees. And that they are direct DNA descendants of the exact same lineage of the tree of life. It's astounding. And wait, for those of you who haven't felt these yet. And I'm feeling in this space. When I was in second grade, they sat us 2 by 2 in little sections, and my little chairmate was Richie. And he would kept doing the old, you drive me crazy. He was saying, okay, and I was singing, I know you are. Because to me it was like, you drive because I'm too crazy. You know? Because that's how my mind interpreted it. And I think we're only the pieces that we interpret. You know? So I keep getting his picture going back to me, going, you drive me crazy. And it was very clear to me when I saw that, what it was. I only have a piece of the puzzle each time. We can only interpret things by how our mind can interpret it at the time. So who knows what bits and pieces I'm really getting and what is reality. But it's coming clearer and clearer and clearer. All you can do is get my brain out of the way. I beat my brain all to pieces when the tree showed up 100 feet from my cabin. We did a workshop there 2 years ago. It was 5 people to get around, and at the workshop, it moved to 10 people to get around. It was shifting and moving at first. It disappeared a couple times, once with a bunch of us under it, before it settled, before that veil, things are, and this is, it's amazing, amazing world out there right now. And it's getting bigger and more amazing all the time as we break down the picture that we're holding of what life really is. Yeah, so, what am I doing? Okay, this is. At this workshop that I went down to do, before DJ had her stroke, we were going to garage sale. And we started, it's over on the right, so she turns the car to the left. And I said, why did you turn to the left? And she goes, I don't know, the car just turned there. So she went to turn around and move, and there was a little sign on a window about like this that said apothecary. And I went, my heart just went to, oh, I'm going to be disappointed. Because when I started out doing what I'm doing, this is my 45th year of doing it out in the public. Before that, I wanted to make some of the ancient recipes, and I couldn't find the things to do them with in the pharmacies. So I would go in and I would ask for something that hadn't been seen for 100 years. So they said, oh, you have to talk to my grandfather or my father. So they would come in and they'd take me down to the basement and they'd get all the great bottles and the old 100-year-old boxes and things that they were in. And they were so excited to have somebody interested in what they were doing because no one had for a long time. Well, I haven't been able to find those things for so long. Our pharmacies are getting gone. You don't even run into them at the sales anymore. But they had bought out 3 old pharmacies. And when I walked in there, I was just blown away with it all. So I bought a bunch of stuff from her. She brought in the next day all the plant material she had, which is 100 years old. The packets had never been opened. And I had a shock. The plants in an empty bottle. This one here. This is an empty bottle. You know, there's nobody home in it. It's 100 years old, and the energy and the strength of the plant that was in here is so far beyond we have anything fresh in the garden. anything. It's coming up. We're going to try to get to do that. So isn't it crazy good? This is 100-year-old. And the earth had that energy then for the plants. It doesn't have it now. So what I started doing was picking a piece of the plant from now, putting it, this is a hemlock, this is American hemlock. And I'm going to walk through and see if I can move some of the scent out for you here. Yeah, isn't that great? It's been empty for 100 years old. And so what started happening with that is when you connect the plants of the ancient time and you connect the plants that are now, the energy lines that run out to that, it makes those lines available for the energy of the ancient plants to lend and give their energy to the earth now for her healing. Are you guys getting that? That's been empty all that time. Oh my God, isn't that great? Yeah, it's, can you guys smell that? Yeah. Yeah, we're filling the room here. Did you get that? Well, I'll pass it down and you can give it back to me after. That really went to show me what kind of trouble she's in and why we're being called up to remember. The trees tell me that they are all one entity. No matter what group they are, be they hemlock, be they fir, be they apple, yew, whatever, there is one. They are here to carry the stories. And that their memory is connected and whole. And they kept saying, root and branch remember the mother. And it took me a long time to get that. But when I finally did, it was that they all remembered their birth of the first tree. And she wasn't on the sun. And that to me says that you is taking that right back. It's all, the tree of life is the tree of life for everything. It's the tree of life of people, it's the tree of life of trees, it's a tree of life of plants, stone, whale, anything. It is the life force of all. So I was just blown away with this. The packets of herbs, and I tried it yesterday with my teacher pillow and we couldn't bring it all the way up, but I think just a bit of Reiki with my hand, that worked. So where are you? Okay. Elder from now, elder from then. And if I'm going to put them together and see if we can't move this right out into, will you help me? Your fire is huge. Will you come and stand with me and do this? And see if we can just move the wholeness of this out to you. Elder is my heart. It is a tree that is the guardian tree and the protector of fairy. It is, oh yeah, yeah. No, I've never met anybody who pumps fire like Kate or her. Yeah, wow, this is just, it's on fire. I call Elizabeth when something needs to be moved. Yeah. Yeah, I got a piano for you, honey. Okay. God, that just feels so good. Sorry, this is kind of grazing off here. The chalice well. For those of you who don't know the chalice well, I'm getting poked again here. The Chalice Well is in Glastonbury, and it is at the base of the Tor where all the ley lines come together on the planet. And it is the oldest well in existence on our planet that has been in constant use since as far back in time as we know, as a healing well. And it just blew me away. All the craziness of travel, all of the craziness of the city, and all of those roundy rounds in England. It was absolutely nuts. Their driving system over there is insane. So I went into that courtyard and walked up into those gardens, and this is big. I have made a cream called Lady of the Well, out of the waters of the red chalice well, and out of the White Spring. While I was there, I got to meet the keeper of the well of the White Spring, which hasn't opened to the public yet. And she took us inside of the cave where all the waters, all of the waters flow down into the different basins by candlelight. And it was, we all just wept and wept and wept. It's the most amazing thing I have ever felt. It's, the Mother Earth's arms are around you totally. This cream is been crazy to work with in this space with all of you, so I have to apologize a little bit there. I'm trying to be here the best I can. It's conscious, totally conscious, and it is psychoactive. It's a psychoactive cream. It raises, and what I found with all of you, working it with all of you yesterday, that was really amazing, that I didn't know, because I just finished it last week. I started, the tincture I have of it is made under the fall equinox, during that full moon, during the eclipse, during all of it, it was brewed there. The blood, yes, absolutely. So it went into the cream, and using it with everybody here with you, what happened was every time someone would say something that was a truth, up and move the energy. Every time someone said something that wasn't as a truth, nothing. Didn't activate at all. So it's a real interesting thing that I'm noticing. A woman took some, and her husband was not there, he was somewhere else, and he came back in, and I looked and I saw, when I put the cream on her, part of it went, there was an energy line that moved and went. And he came back over to her and said, oh my God, I just had this most amazing experience of healing, you know? And the energy from her just went and it rounded around us. So it moves. This is what I was able to see visual, what I know already with my heart and can feel with energy work. But it, when you take something, when you do something, when you raise your consciousness, the medicine that we're going to brew today from the well, we're all going to drink. And you're going to carry it with you to your families, to their families, out to their friends. It moves to anybody that you move. And this is why I believe I was sent to the Amazon in the first place. This was my journey of the Amazonian plants, was that plants are solid in the ground. They can't travel very far energetically unless someone addresses them or is right there. Their energy can't move. They move through us. And it's a way of leapfrogging out across the world, energy work is. Because energy never goes away. It never stays still. These bottles are 100 years old. And it's amazing. It's just amazing. You know, I'm learning things so much this year that I never had even thought.
Are you familiar with the Stewart Hot Mineral Springs by Mount Shasta?
No. You're the second person who said that to me this weekend, though.
It has the same configuration of the two springs side by side.
Ah.
It has the white
And the red.
Only they use the white there to bathe in.
Well,
It's the only other place on the planet
The
that
white-
exists, so we have it
the
really
white
close by.
gets bathed in there.
Does it?
It's not
Yes, I
open to
heard
the
it was-
public.
Oh.
But it does.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, questions? Yeah.
When's your next class?
I don't work by my head. I work by my heart, and when the right people come together, it happens. And I don't know what it's going to be about until they tell me what it's going to be about. And that is mainly because the classroom stuff that I have held and done, I move everything through me. And it's a huge bump of energy for everyone. But it also takes me a long time to get my body back into balance after that. So that's tough. So we have to, and we're going to do it. We're going to find a way to balance it more and do more workshops. Because what I have my interest in right now, there are a lot of people out there that are teaching how to do an elixir, that are teaching how to do that, and there's so many people that can do that, and that's where everybody needs to go for that. I'm wanting to put my energy towards bringing you up and taking you there, you know, not the how-to.
Yeah.
Because you'll be told the how-to by the plants. And they can be the best teachers for that. In the past I could have done all of that. I would have been very interested in doing it, but we're getting shorter on the time that we need to get up there, so I need to.
Well, you had said earlier in the spring that the plants and the trees and the rocks were all crying out for us to get together.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I'm asking.
Yeah,
It's like,
so-
I've heard that call, and then
Okay.
when I tuned into you, I was like, oh, she's gone.
Okay, so this is what you need to do also, is I have out there a notebook, and if everyone will print very clearly as they can, their name in it again. I know you've done it before, but we put it out to a lot of people for the class last time, and we got mailer demons all over the place. So if you could just, you know, print real clearly and put on what you want, and keep bugging me. I tend to go off into space and stay there for quite a while, and it feels like days to me, and it's months or years.
Well, you're working.
Yeah. That's the hard part of this, you know, is the time thing. Yeah. It's like, what do I still need to share? This is, we're going to have a shorter time here. This, I don't know with this time, unless there's something I can do for everyone. What? It is 2 o'clock now? Okay, then we're good. I thought it was earlier than that. I'm going to do the stones for a second because they're yelling up here. There were almost no stones that wanted to talk today. It's getting the stones that want is I'm going to just kind of reiterate to you these. These are the last there are out there. They were this is what happened when they were born. The minerals flowed over that place that was in the white sands in Egypt, over a tree that was down, that was a yew tree. Were two pieces of big bark, but they're mine. So it flowed over shells, it flowed over a couple little fish. We had all kinds of fossils, but those minerals are the root and branch. So that's those. The only other 2 things, the panic attacks. There's been a real increase this year in panic and anxiety attacks, like not being able to breathe correctly. It's his body's getting adjusted to that. It feels like we can't get the air in correct. And this stone here is still the best thing I have ever seen for that. Mongolian agate. And because it holds the energy of space, all stones do of where they come from, all the energy around there's energy forever because it's huge out there and it's empty, you know? Not empty, but you know, not taken up by buildings. So it brings in more oxygen, you can breathe better, it'll stop a panic attack flat. They're great. They are my friend. Fluorite. Fluorite this year is raging into being, and this is the thing. I'm terrible at making judgments about something. Thinking, oh, fluorite, she's sweet and gentle, and you know, I kind of put it in with pink quartz and you know, with rose quartz, and you know, that is so far from the truth. It is so far from the truth. Power lies in so many different ways and in so many different things. Fluorite is for right now. I've got, I think, 1 large piece there. Oh, there's all kinds of fluorites. These are the English fluorite, which are this amazing color. Do you know the English fluorite? So fluorite, you can put a piece in your room. It brings order to chaos. And what it does, you can put a piece in your house and ask it and make an agreement between you that all of the spinning stop, all of the things that are fear-based and anxiety and crazy stop. It brings order to things to help you sort and make room for everything. It also helps to bring up, we're getting last vestiges of dreads of things that we haven't let go. And I'm seeing that we're getting to the, I mean, we've gotten way down there to the bottom of the teapot. But it's bringing them up to the surface. So it helps with that, and it helps to make order out of it. Fluorite is another cooling plant. It's a cooling stone, but it is likened to that. It is likened to, it's likened to a sapwood plant, which is a plant that has soap elements to it that lighten things up so that they can be helped to remove. I have a great piece of fluorite that I take a bath with. I wouldn't recommend one of those bumpy ones. A nice smooth one, although a bumpy one might really scrape stuff off, you know. And it helps to release into the water so that it can be moved out. They release all of the tight spaces that we get really, when we get angry or somebody's cut us off with a car or whatever's going on, we tighten all up. Fluorite in the bath, a piece to wipe yourself down with, will help cool and clear and move it all on out. It's a spring cleaning. It helps your metabolism move smoother and clearer. She moves stuff, brings order and moves it. Cools anger. Yeah, good stuff.
Where do you get it?
All over the place. So probably everybody here in the booth has fluorite. Fluorite comes from all over the world in all different colors and sizes. I have a few English pieces out there, and then I have a big violet one, which are rare, and they're really amazing. But as a room piece. Yeah. Did you smell it? Isn't that amazing? Yeah, it's pretty crazy. This one my grandson taught me. Garnet. Ground into your heart. When the grounding and the things have not worked in the old ways, it feels very much like we are not grounded right now. And we keep trying to ground, and we are grounded. You can't ground any more than you're grounded at this point. But it feels like it because things are the wind's blowing all different ways and moving us all over the place to get this energy incorrect. Garnet works amazingly well. Holding a piece of garnet, telling it how much you appreciate it, it moves all of that chaotic energy right back into your heart center. Sweet little garnet, you know? Transitions. It just said transitions. And that makes absolutely sense because garnet was used by the Victorians in wedding ceremonies. It was also used in the death jewelry that were worn for mourning. So transitions, it just said. So that's why it's working so well right now. All transitions. It's meant to mark and do and help you move into any of those places in your life where there's death and rebirth and new space. Okay, I think I'm going to try this way. For those of you who didn't know the powder, the Dreamweaver Heart Healer, it's been very infamous, and I took it off the market because I was afraid I couldn't make it again. So I took the last 7 bottles off and I hoarded them like a dragon. When I put it on anyone at their heart chakra, front and back, I can move them so much faster because they aren't trying to think about it and feel it. They're right there in that center. And that's why it can do that. Our dreams come from our heart. They don't come from our head. The head does the practical, and it does it well for us. But the dream is the heart. So you can't birth the dream until you're in the heart. So I redid it, and we did, the only difference in it, it came up just beautiful. Because the reason I didn't think I could do it again was because when I'm being told what to do, I'm listening with my heart, and I'm putting a dash of that, until the energy line comes up, and I can feel it come into place and is exact. If I stop to write it down, I'm out of there. It's gone. I can't use electrical equipment. I can sometimes, and sometimes that works, but sometimes it doesn't at all, and then that not working will blow me out of the water. So I just make it. This one is its new incarnation, and it has the waters from the chalice, white and red well in it. So instead of putting it on, I had time to put it on all of you guys yesterday. I'm just going to try to walk down each side here, if you want to do some too. I'm going to try to just kind of pick up a little bit and blow it out into the room and see if we can do it that way. We're trying to do enmasked stuff this time. Or maybe this will work.
You have two?
Yes, I have two. Do you want to do that, Annie?
I'm going down the outside.
Are you sure? Okay.
Roberta, what's the name of it again?
The name of it is Dreamweaver Heart Healer. Okay. So DJ, yeah. Beloveds, please move through for us so that you fill the room with your beauty and joy. Thank you, blessed be. It's sticking to my fingers, maybe I flick it.
Abracadabra.
Yeah. See, this is what I'm being told over and over now. We have to be able to surrender the old ways and not say, well, I always did it this way. It isn't going to work anymore. It's only going to cause restriction in you and where things cannot move through. So we have to surrender everything that was then and all of what you think the next is going to be about. And be here, Ram Dass, you know, right? And be here now. So that's exactly what we need to be. You know, and in everything, When you say something, anything that you're doing, think about how that statement, how you've done it in the past and how that makes you feel, and let it go. That's good. Isn't that? And it's pretty amazing that it works that way.
I did keep my hands, like to check the energy level, I did forget my hand kept closing.
It is, yeah. It has hawthorn in, yes, it does. It's what? It's better than the first. Well, it's the well that came up. Do you feel the cool? It's like this cool breeze is coming right through there. No, these are the plants. Yes, and the breeze is moving right through. That's exactly it. So, this is what plant spirit medicine is. So I don't have to explain what it is. This, you need to feel what it is. You have to, it's acknowledging the power, acknowledging the grace and the beauty of plants, and asking their permission, asking them to help you, giving offerings. I got, 2 years ago, I got my ass kicked by Daisy. I went out into the garden. Some of you have heard this story. For those of you who haven't, I went out into the garden and asked permission to gather some of the flowers for the altar. And I got to Daisy that was growing there, a wild daisy, wild Shasta daisy, and she said no. And I wasn't used to hearing no. You know, I went, oh. So I said, okay, and I walked away and thought about it, and I came back and I said, have I done something to offend you? What have I said? I said, I never let Kate pull you up, and I have always seen and known your beauty. She said, you don't know me. She said, you only see my beauty, you don't know me. And she said, and I'm wild. These other plants, they have a bargain with you. I have no bargain with you. I'm wild, and you don't know me. So I went back and I thought about that, and I went, oh my God. Daisy is the root mother of all of the healing plants.
Of all of the.
Healing plants. Echinacea, black-eyed Susan, I mean, on and on and on. She is the root mother of the plants. And I'd always just been saying condescendingly to her, oh, you're so beautiful. So I had a huge apology to make, and I bowed deeply. And this year, where I had had just a daisy here and there, because the weather was the way it was and that we were going to Europe, we didn't fill in tons of the garden. Daisy and all her cousins came, and I have never had the like of the daisies in my yard. She forgave. But that's it. That's what plant spirit medicine is. When you acknowledge that plants are living beings, the same as you are, when you ask them for their help and ask them for their knowledge, this is what happens. This is what this feels like. And scientifically, if you tested everything in here, the sprays and the things I had done, all it would be water and a little bit of brandy to make sure that it stabilized it and there was no bacteria. We know better. There is coming to a place, which is the old place, where we will never have to take anything from the earth. All we will do is call on the spirit of the plants, and they will come. And they do now. We are at that now. And I still use the little bits and pieces and stuff that they volunteer to help us see and get there. But we're all going to get there, where we can ask in gratitude to whatever we need, and the spirit of it is that much stronger. And if I'm going to start this work this summer. After this is over, I'm starting this work on what is going on with all of the ancestral plants, how to move those energies in and connect them as solid as I can with the others to do the healing for that. That's the next journey that I'm on with this. So the plants, I think we're going to get to the trees. How's our time going? It zips all over the place, and sometimes it's 2:15, yeah. And so last spring, those of you who are here, or not, for those of you who weren't here in the spring show, we needed, I needed another half an hour after the 2 hours to get to what I needed because it sped the time. So I asked if the earth would give us an extra half an hour, and everybody's watches stopped. We moved sideways, took a step into time. Until that time was up and I was done, we moved back, and it did it. So when we're doing this thing together, it's not me who's doing it. I'm just, it's all of you who come, every one of you. The stuff that we do together here, there's so many of you who have been coming and coming for so many years, and even those of you who are new to coming to this, we're jumping in, and we take a little step outside of time, and the magic, the energy that happens, the healings go out to everybody. So when you come to this, what happens, you're responsible for in all of that. And it's good, and I thank you all, and I bless you for that, because I can't do it by myself. This is all of us joining together and doing it. And it's big stuff. It's not just a class that you come and hear somebody spout. Things get done here and moved out into the world. And each one has a different quality to it. It just raised right up. I've got this cream on that we're going to do. Truth speaking raises right up. It's what we do together. And Portland has the largest condensed group of healers of anywhere else in the United States. Of all kinds. We're a gateway here. Portland is a gateway. So for those of you who have moved here, you're here for a reason. And this is one of the reasons. What we do here, whatever work we do here, because Portland is a gateway, shoo, 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 everywhere in time, moves it. That's a tree. I have a tree in my yard. Let's go ahead and give this a shot. Would you, let me ask, what is the energy about? Okay, yes. I'm going to set these on here, and I'm going to ask those of you who do Reiki or who do any type of healing, whatever, to send the energy up to these, and we're going to fill the room with this you. I'm just going to set them right here. Beloveds, we ask that you help us all to be pure channels for spirit so that we might move this energy of the you and awaken her. And the town that she comes from, Eustragolite, did I tell you that it translates as waking in Welsh, as waking the sleeping giants? There she goes. I am in the process, I didn't get them done in time. I am making tree hangings with prayers, to do your prayers in, and I left, there's a picture at my booth of the tree, and I left the first one, the first prayer from all of us in Portland for the tree. That was a prayer to the healing of the trees, and a prayer that we all have grace to remember and do the same. And I'll have a bunch of those done for spring, that the energy had to go to these. I have a pillow here that's very serious, and I'm kind of getting yelled at about the joking. You know, this is serious business. And I thank you, and I hear that, and I appreciate it. Bless you. Humor is good. Okay, we got... It's very crazy doing this with being in an altered space because I just want to go right out. So thank you all. What we have left to do here is the balm and the brew. Let's do the brew. If we don't have time for the balm, we can do it out at the booth or what? Yeah, let's do it. So how's everybody doing? Did you get that energy out of that? And do you see why it got more serious too, though? It's like it rooted it right into place. This is the things that the tree was telling me, this over voice before my tree appeared, I thought it was that, but it's not. What led to the speaking that was going on to me beforehand that led me onto this whole path, it was calling itself root and branch, the sacred gesha of the tree. And I had to dig around to even find out, gesh, what is a gesh, what is... And it's a sacred promise that is made to where if you, in the ancient Gaelic, that if you make a gesh between people or between tribes, between whatever, if you do not fulfill it, there's death involved. So, we have come in with a promise we have made to the earth, to the trees, at least me in particular, to make. And that this is that gesh. It is that awakening the sleeping giants. It's remembering all of that information and energy of who we are and what we truly are. And we're meant to be, I'm just going to throw this out here because you guys will help me remember later. I keep getting that there's something that I haven't had time to sit down and get yet that has to do with the Tower of Babel. That the tree of life is what taught, was hearing all, when we heard all of the voices, it didn't necessarily have to do with understanding all the voices of the other tribes people. It was the voices of the trees, it was the voices of the plants, it was the voices of everything. And when we misused that, and it was stopped, and the trees started getting to cut down for the war machines, that was taken away from us.
And what does Mother say about what Monsanto's doing?
We haven't gotten there, it doesn't go that kind of judgment.
Uh-huh.
We make judgments. The plants and the trees don't make those kind of judgments. I expect them to. I expect them to. God, that really pisses me off. And you know, but they don't go there. They've got a whole other story. Everything has its purpose, and they're not in the same place. And that's twisting around some of those things for me too, because they aren't seeing anything as right or wrong, or I'm the victim and you're not. They don't go there. That isn't their story. That isn't their story. So I'm having to rearrange a lot of the things that I've held as truths. A lot.
So you,
The trees don't get angry when they're cut?
They do not. There's no anger. Trees do not make judgments. And I've had to deal with that lately because I've been having, two of our borders were clear cut. Right to our borders. And some of our trees were marked, and we had to kind of go to war to say, wait a minute here. I go out and I offer my land to them. I offer them harbor as long as I can, and they come. I tell them ahead of time, this is what's going to happen. They don't think in that way like we do. It's not the judgments, it's not the anger about it. They don't go there. It's not that they don't feel pain, but they don't judge for it. And that,
As they go there, it's just part of the cycle.
Yeah.
Part of the cycle.
yeah. So this brew up here, what I'm going to do, this is the brew from the chalice well. And it's called the Golden Chalice at the Heart of the Well, and I'm going to step back here, and I want all of you to stand, because I don't want you aiming everything at me. I did that a couple of times, and the power that just plastered me up to the wall was a lot to eat. So we're going to turn, and those of you who do healing energy, those of you who just want to do it. Everybody put their hands up and send towards this, and we're going to charge it up. Wait a second, I got to put the music on. Okay. Yes, these are the grandmothers of the Shipibo tribe who are my teachers.
Awesome. You turned that on.
Yeah, I'm getting technical. I finished the other day, I even figured out how to put a wallpaper screen on, and I put chickweed in Paris. A picture of it going out of the sidewalk. Is that loud enough? Just bring it down to there. Now, can I get volunteers to help me pass the board? Got it right now there. Help pass those out to everyone? Okay. To the next step in the journey. Man, I feel like I've got flames shooting out of my eyes. Seriously, it's different visually.
Bless you, Roberta. Thank you for sharing this with us.
Thank you so much. Right back at you. You know, this absolutely right back at you. I have never driven, those of you who don't know me. I live in the woods. I don't come out very often, but that's starting to happen. The only time I really come into Portland is to do these two shows, one in the spring and one in the fall. I'm a solitary person, but man, I just love I love this, and I roll in it the whole weekend, roll in it like a dog. And I take it all that love and all that energy, I take it, wrap you up and take you home, and sit in my cabin in the woods, and just smile and smile and smile. You see? Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
This is something entirely new. It's Leonard Cohen. My secret life. Well, I love Leonard Cohen. He is my, yeah.
The sun this morning, you were moving so fast.
We always get something bizarre happens with songs I don't have come up that were on the radio because I do have Leonard on it. Yeah.
And I miss you so much. There's no one inside.
Okay.
And we're still making love
One more line.
in my secret life.
Hey, Leonard. Yeah, this is so freaking amazing. This space we have just moved into. It's crazy good. And carry that out with you, please. It's crazy.
It's over here.
Oh. It's nice to know you, girl. So, as hard as this energy coming into, it was like me coming back into my body from out there. We're back in. We're back in. And it's a little bit crazy because we have to ground ourselves in it, and it doesn't feel grounding, and it's a little strange, and everything is new, and nothing works like it used to. But we're doing it, and it's going to get easier and better and better. And it has both sides to it because there's not ever half a seed. So when it starts feeling that way, think of, okay, it's just half the seeds. They have to be together or it won't sprout. It's balance. Okay, that's what I'm telling myself through it. And I thank you all so much. I don't know where our time is, but it feels complete. I will talk for a second about henna. Henna, I have jars out at my booth, I think 7 or 8 of them. Yeah?
Henna.
Oh, henna, yeah. So I learned most amazing things about henna through getting these jars of these, and they're full ones. They're from 1920s, from that same place I got my bottle. And they're full. They've never been opened. So when you take even a pinch of something, of that old space, and put it with what is now, and I believe it's going to go to more things in your life, that it opens up that whole genetic line to run the energy through. So henna is the oldest known women's ritual that's still being done in time. It was used, the ancient time of the ritual was done was a 3-day ceremony when any transition was happening in a woman's life, or actually in a man, because they hinted at death also to send them off into the next world. But a ritual was done where the person was laid out and did not move, did not eat, did not speak for 3 days. 3 days, 3 nights, the symbols were painted on, the ceremonies were done, and the transition was complete. Everything, time there was a new space in your life like it is now we're all going through, it was death and rebirth in everything. And the death had to be honored as well as the rebirth, because the rebirth wouldn't be correct if the death hadn't been honored. So henna works in all those transitions of that space. Okay. I just had B speak. I haven't heard B speak for a long time. What she said was, that is what I do. Isis, the beekeeper's daughter, part of why my name is the beekeeper's daughter, the one part is I am physically the beekeeper's daughter. My father's films are used to do beekeeping trainings in like Gresham at the college out there, whatever. He was very well known in that. And all the way back, my family have been beekeepers on both sides of my family. But Isis was known as the beekeeper. Death and rebirth. The children, her priestesses were known as the Melissa, which is the bee. And bees could not be killed, was a beheading offense to knowingly smash or break hives in Egypt, because it was the food of the gods. And the bees would guide her bees, would guide Isis's bees, and also her priestesses would guide in the new souls that were being born and guide out the olds that were leaving. So it's the same process. It is just saying, as the henna does, it's honoring death and honoring rebirth, and it's honoring what's to come as well as what is ready to go. It's the circle of honoring. And henna is a staggering plant for burns. People that have had burns over 90% of their body that they didn't think would even live, could not be helped surgically, they would go in and make the henna paste and keep packing it in and packing it in until the skin would heal. Wounds that have not been able, leprosy, all kinds of wounds that could not heal in any other way, diabetes problem with feet that were just in a really bad place. Henna is an intense healer that really goes deep because she honors the death of something and the birth of something. She is the honoring of herself. I didn't know all of that till just now. Thank you. that just gave me a clearer picture too. So I have some of the jars out there anyway, and it takes, so if we even, yeah, I forgot, I missed it. I think we've done, was there something about Hannah that I think that was it. Okay, I think we're done early, sometimes we have to have it at this time, we're done early, so thank you all.